Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Astrological Color Theory. I am recording this during the morning, so I've got a snoring dog in my lap and we're rocking some coffee. So the energy is a little bit different than the others. So today we are going to be diving into my favorite fucking part of this, applying everything that I taught you guys to astrology. And of course, like it's basic, okay? So yes, I'm gonna do this disclaimer because so many people get it stuck in their head. It's like, oh, I understand what she taught me. And it's like, nah, bro, took me 2 fucking years of developing an aesthetic library that was completely tailored to every single 10-degree section, okay? So what I am taking you guys through today, it's actually funny because all of the palettes that I'm showing you guys and taking you through today, it really was something that I researched for like a solid year when I first got into astrology. And it was like, it's really confusing. If you just Google, for example, if you're like, okay, what's the Leo power color? You'll get like gold or yellow or purple or shit like that. So what I did years and years and years ago, like 2018, I think, was I actually went through every single resource I could find and I actually put together like, no, it's not one color, it's a palette. So that's what you guys are seeing now. And I just want to give you like a little hello, watch me have an ego death here. I didn't want to change that information, even though I know so much more now. So I actually still keep these titles and these color palettes in my natal charts, and I'm actually going to go through them with you guys, and I'm not going to change them because yes, I do know more, but this really does reflect mainstream astrology that I literally studied before I got into the deacons. Okay, so do not use this for branding. The energy of the signs have shifted. The stars shift 1 degree every 72 years. So all of the Leo constellation, it's over in the Virgo area now. All of the Cancer, it's in Leo now. And I took all of this into account when I created the aesthetic library with the 10-degree sections, 10-degree font recommendations, the palettes, color psychology, the mood boards, everything. And also something you will never see unless you become a certified astrological brand consultant with me, is the journey of all of those as an aesthetic. It's really cool. And like I'm saying, took me 2 years, 2 full years to develop. Okay. So this is not your branding. This is literally just me starting to explain how this stuff really does make sense in a very, very basic bitch way. Mainstream pop astrology, not to be used for branding. I use this shit for like silly bullshit, like dressing up like an astrology sign. Okay. Dumb, stupid stuff is what I'm about to take you guys through. So first things first, Aries. The original palette that I put together, again, just from internet surface research, bold red, orange reds, and even like this orange, it's not even orange, it's even still red orange, right? So we've literally just got 3 basic, very aggressive, bold, physical, the like most physically aggressive colors. What's up? That's for Aries, okay? So going through these, breaking them down, we've got kind of like a cherry red, right? It's more it's less orange than the other ones. I would call this a cool toned red. So it's very like passionate, right? Very body focused, aggressive, motivational. And then of course, just like a splash of orange to kind of make like almost a scarlet red. So this is where the ambition, the energy, and the like excited passion, like happy passion, not I'm going to kill you passion comes in. And then we've got orange, which you'll see looking at the color wheel, it still quite isn't orange. It's more red orange. Drama, optimism, but also like a splash of yellow. So it's that juvenile excitement. Okay. So going through the psychology and then going through the color theory and then seeing this breakdown, I hope you guys are starting to understand why this makes sense, but also why it's still very just basic, right? This is just general one sign bullshit, has nothing to do with the individual personalities in the 10-degree sections of the zodiac. So I would say this like cherry red, it's more of like the full-bodied kind of again vibrant color. And then we've got this red orange, which it still is more of like just the pure red, right? It's just a different tone. And then we've got actually like the red orange next to it, because the regular orange, the secondary color of orange, it's actually quite a bit more yellow than the red orange, right? So of course this is an analogous color scheme. Okay. If you guys want to get into that stuff, if you're going to use this for like interior design or something like that. So when we're talking about Taurus, again, this palette that I put together from research years and years ago, bright and feminine pinks with lush greens, lush. So there's sensuality, there's empowerment here, but also like abundance and fertility, right? Like Taurus, when you think of it as an earth sign, it's not like nitty gritty earth or a forest earth, like Capricorn or Virgo. It's like beautiful blossoming earth, right? So we're going to have a lot more of these fertile, sensual colors in there. Just think of flowers, right? So we've got petal pink first, like I explained in the psychology. It's very sensual, very femininity focused, also like physical, tactile love, right? Magenta, empowerment, being seen, being heard, very like feminine or even just female boss, okay? Green, and this is like the greenest of the green. It's just pure fucking green, okay? Definitely all about heart chakra, heart harmony, growth opportunity. Like we said, it's green. When someone calls you green, it means like, yo, buddy, like you're kind of green. You have a lot to experience yet. You have a lot of growth available to you. And it's funny when I work with, I don't even care. I'm going to burn all the signs this whole time. I'm just burn everyone. When I meet with Tauruses who haven't done ego work, they're like, yeah, I'm fucking boss. I'm in charge. And it's like, no, you got a lot to grow. But because they haven't had an ego death yet, they don't see the opportunity in that. So they just project this boss energy, but they're not there yet. So it's quite interesting. Like the most powerful Taurus, they are vulnerable. Okay. Look for a vulnerable Taurus and then you can hire them. And of course, my favorite part of this screen, it regulates the brain, which is fucking necessary with all this like sexy love stuff going on, right? So it's interesting when I look at these colors, like where I would actually place them, I would actually call this petal pink more of like a neutral, like a naturalized pink, right? So of course this, this is a lot darker. It's definitely got a little bit of white in here as well. So it would be like a neutralized tint of pink. Does that make sense? And then magenta, it's just magenta. It's going to be like the marriage of purple, or sorry, of this would be like, yeah, okay, it's the marriage of purple and of red. So it's technically called red purple or red violet, but that's what creates magenta, and it's just fucking bold. There's nothing done to it, right? And then green, it's actually interesting. This definitely, I would call it more of like a warm green, right? Like if you look just one notch above where I've got this arrow here, that would be a cool tone green. Okay. So it's quite interesting to see how, when I didn't even consciously put this together with a color wheel years ago, I was just doing my research with just astrology, putting together basic palettes, it still has kind of a cohesive feel to it. So I would call these full-bodied warm tones. Doesn't matter what color they are. I call them warm tones. Next up, we've got Gemini, yellow, fresh greens. Okay, so there's like wit, of course, humor, naivety, intelligence, stimulation, all of that stuff, but it's like new growth, but also like new intellectual growth that isn't necessarily material, if that makes sense. So breaking this one down, it's kind of just like cohesive all over. That's why it's just like yellow, a different shade of yellow and green, and then like another shade of yellow green, right? So there's intellect, invigoration, communication. Like I said, yellow is the most mentally stimulating color out there. Have you ever spoken to a Gemini? They're fucking crazy. And then when we get more into the green side of it, like if you guys are, craving or seeing these colors a lot, it's because it's time for you to act a little bit more like a child. Take yourself a little bit less serious, okay? And of course, it's hella stimulating, all about new growth, rebirth. And it's funny too, like when I think of Gemini, I'm like, where's all the shadow? Where is all the shadow? And again, mainstream bitch astrology, right? It's like basic shit. It's like when I meet low vibe, not grown Geminis, it's just like fucking sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. And it's like, yeah, where's your dark twin, you liar, right? And they want to hide under all this green growth productivity. So again, be careful when you guys work with the signs. Like you should always know someone's big three. I know that's tough sometimes, but just out of curiosity to see what you're getting yourself into. If you see where's like, you're not showing me your shadow Gemini, it's because they fucking nuts. So watch out. Okay. So again, it's interesting to break these down and see where they go on the color wheel. Definitely there's like the yellow green, it would be a tint of yellow green, and then there's the more pure toned yellow green, and then of course cool toned yellow, right? Definitely not warm tone. It's like fucking electric. Next up, we've got Cancer. And it's funny looking at this palette now, I'm like, I should have put blush in there. I definitely should have put blush in there, especially again with this title page that I put together years ago. There should definitely be a blush tone in here. So it's funny that I didn't put that together. Again, I didn't invent these palettes. This is just research from the internet that I put together. So it's cool to go through this with you guys, like, oh my gosh, what, 5 years later, and kind of critique kind of my own work, but I'm more just critiquing, like, look what astrology says, and I don't agree, right? So yeah, whites, creams, silvers, grays, calming, safe space, but there is that like sage wisdom emotion, and it is because it's very maternal, right? And again, I want to point this out. I'm told I'm just burning all the signs. When you meet Cancers and they don't have that maternal wisdom, it's because they're still babies. It's because they are still big, whiny, emotional, hot mess babies. Okay. So I don't want to phrase it this way because this is so fucked up, but it's like a Cancer can't be wise until they are a mother. And I don't want to phrase it that way, but I hope you guys understand what I mean by like coming into your maternal energy. Like you can birth anything. It can be work. Like my dog is my fucking child, right? So just understanding, like, if you meet a Cancer and the maternal wisdom isn't there, again, they're nuts. They crazy. Just warning you guys. So breaking this down again, kind of interesting. So the stark white really does convey that like purity, fresh, moral stance for sure. Cancer is the activist of the zodiac. So it's like bend to my morals or I will fucking kill you. They're actually quite aggressive. Again, if you guys get into the brand hub and that's part of your brand is any of the Cancer deacons, you'll be like, wow, this is totally not what she showed me in that original presentation. So gray, wisdom, also emotionally inviting, right? It's like, let's fucking talk about our emotion. And there's like a range of emotions here, and understanding the complexities of emotions is where Cancer would get their wisdom. Of course, the maternal thing and the safe space with the cream. And then silver, again, now knowing what I know about the signs, I do not put silver anywhere in Cancer energy. I reserve silver for Aquarius energy, actually, in my branding. So it's just funny that the internet says that Cancer is like higher self, very reflective, mature stance, when really, if you think about it, Cancer is a cardinal sign. So they're one of the most immature signs out there. Again, burning all the signs, but I'm just being honest. So stark white, gray, cream, and silver. It's funny. These are all a monochromatic yellow color scheme. So if you just like, obviously, if you drain the color out of anything, you're going to get white, gray, whatever, even black on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But really, this would be considered a monochromatic color scheme because they're all just like yellow or white or tints of each other. Next up, we've got Leo. And as you guys can see, even years ago, I was like, I am not including purple in Leo. So you will find some astrology sites that are like, yeah, Leo, purple, power color, but there's so much fucking purple everywhere else in the zodiac. It just didn't make sense to me. And again, I feel, again, personal, like blowing up the world emotional energy here. I feel like if a Leo leans more into that purple royalty, they are, it's kind of like they're projecting that, right? So it's again, just see what people are drawn to, right? It's kind of interesting when I meet Leos and they're like, I don't like orange, I don't like gold, I don't like yellow. I'm like, yeah, that's because you're not in your power. So you got some growing to do. And I didn't like these colors either until I started growing the fuck up. So definitely attractive, right? Like all of these tones are like life-giving, attractive attraction colors. And it is really all about like giving and receiving, generosity, right? Like we talked about how gold is all about generosity, not status. And of course, orange is like the attractive, like energetic, come fucking look at this shit color, right? So breaking it down with orange, drama, optimism, action, metabolism too, which is funny because when I think of Leos, they're always fucking hungry for the next goal. Hungry, right? And I'm like, oh wow, that makes, again, symbolism. It makes sense on that physical, I guess you'd call it psychology, but yeah, like with a physical response that the brain triggers when we see the color orange. It's like, man, I'm hungry for some fucking goals. And then we've got gold. So yeah, there is status and all that bullshit in here, success, higher self, abundance. But what's cool, again, when you look at it on the colored wheel, it's like gold and this warm yellow, they really are just like very similar meanings. One is just more about like the actual higher self, and one is a little bit more earthed and grounded, right? Like yellow, it's like soaking up the sun, whereas the gold, it implies like a spiritual sense to that, if that makes sense. Okay, so just seeing where they land on the color wheel, I would definitely, this is clearly like a warm yellow, right? But it's interesting, it's still not bright enough to be considered yellow, so it's actually orange yellow. And then obviously gold would be another orange yellow, but it's like the neutralized version of it. You could even put it in like the neutralized grain tone with the original yellow. And then of course, orange is orange. And yeah, this is another, which is really common in the zodiac, analogous color scheme. I think the only one that's like truly different is Taurus, and it's complementary with the opposites, right? Next up, we have got Virgo, meticulous, earthy. So every earth tone that you can think of actually works for Virgo. And it's very interesting too. Thinking about like white in terms of Virgo would be powerful as well. But that was just my interpretation. And I never saw that anywhere on the internet. It's just like earth tones, earth tones, earth tones, natural. But I'm like, but Virgo is the sign of purity. It's associated with like the purest goddess on earth, right? So, and returning nature to purity. So again, pop shit, we're just going through it. So of course, olive green, service, peace, natural wisdom, right? Because it is a neutralized, naturalized color. We've added gray to green, right? So right then and there, we give green wisdom when we do that. Forest green, this is the mature growth, like we talked about the process of plants, right? Health, stress relief as well. This is kind of like a warm tone beige. It is a little bit gold as well, but it's definitely like safe space, home, hearth, stability. And then the green, earthly abundance, right? Like when it's not gold or metallic or shiny or whatever the fuck, it's all about earthly abundance. So there isn't a lot of spirituality in Virgo. It's very earth, it's very practical, right? But it is very knowledge giving, shares and gives, receives, very generous with knowledge. So definitely olive green, right? We've got the yellow green, but it's neutralized. Got the forest green, it would go way, way darker than what I've got here for the shade of green. And it probably is a little bit neutralized as well. So it'd be like a shade of a neutralized green, actually. And then we've got the warm beige, which is actually a neutral version of yellow orange. And then the green, it is just the neutral version of yellow. So cool to see how this breaks down. Once again, another analogous color scheme. Then we've got Libra. Oops. And Libra, it is just all the pastels. All the pastels. It can be any single pastel color. I just put together 4 of them. I definitely make use of like green, like pastel green inside of the aesthetic library for Libra. But just again, pop bullshit. Baby blue, serene, calm, clarity, peach, socializing, networking. Also, I thought this was funny because like orange would be the pure, vibrant color, like version of peach, right? There's a splash of pink in there too, but it's like tamed excitement. It's like, you're excited. Why don't you express yourself? It's like, no, I'm a Libra. I'm tame. I'm going to tame it. And then pink, shy, timid, calming aggression too. That is a gift. And then like small, keeping yourself small and friendly. Lavender. And it's funny too, again, looking at this, I would call this more of a lilac. I would actually now, and this is why I'm glad I didn't change it, so I can show you guys the evolution of knowledge and how like I have grown, and I'm showing you this without ego. I'm like, look at this shit. I would totally change this to way more of a blue purple, but definitely it's like wandering, daydreaming, creativity. So again, like the baby blue, it's definitely like the pure blue shade. It would be the tint. And then the peach would be a tint of the orange. And actually, it's funny, this would be more of, yeah, that makes sense, more of a red orange because it's a splash of pink, right? So it'd be like red and orange, but a tint. So that makes sense. And then, of course, with the lavender, it's funny, like I said, I would actually pick this color where it's pointed to here. But years ago when I created this palette, and again, research on the internet, not necessarily accurate, right? Like hundreds of sources to you guys. Like I'm a crazy person. I'm a Virgo everything. So I researched the shit out of stuff. Everyone just agreed. It's like, yeah, more of a, warm toned purple. And now I'm looking at this. I'm like, no way, it should be fucking cool toned, right? So just interesting. Next up, we've got Scorpio, all the passion, all the depth, all the mystery, power, authority, intrigue, but also all the fucking stubbornness, right? So first up, when we're talking about Scorpio, like duh, aggression, passion, physicality, let's fuck, right? Scorpio vibes. Sorry, Scorpio. Use hose. Blood red, right? Definitely dark red I associate with Scorpio, and it's like depth, certainty of self, rooted, but also like hello, stubborn, hiding, right? Black, more stubbornness, hella mystery, tons of powerful energy. I would definitely be like, of course, like Scorpio as again, diving into astrology, Scorpios are square, which means in conflict with Leos. So every time, I honestly don't work with Scorpios, and it's not intentional, but they don't like me. Scorpios and Leos are always in conflict. So like, I'll give it up to the Scorpios. You guys are hella powerful, but it's a stubborn sense of power. It's like, I am not moving from here and I am not willing to receive help. It's funny to me, but it's also like, come on, you guys, come on, just open the fuck up, but they won't. And of course, maroon, this deep, like wine colored purple. It's very class seeking, status seeking, but also incredibly indulgent, which is another way that I would describe Scorpios, right? So of course, this red, it's just like pure red, little bit of like a tinge of orange in there. So it would be like a warm toned red. The blood red, this one doesn't even do it justice. It would be like dark shade of pure red. Black, of course, and then maroon, it would be a darker version of this red purple. So it'd be kind of like a dark magenta, you would call it, like a shade of magenta. Next up, Sagittarius. These guys don't have a lot of power colors. All I could find was like, yeah, blue and purple years ago. But really, it really is just about like every single shade and tint and version and whatever of purple, of the crown chakra, of spirituality, magic, mysticism, and philosophy. So breaking this one down, and again, I just for some texture, years ago, I threw in this galaxy palette. So purple, awakening, spirituality, mysticism, this galaxy color palette, whatever, exploration, escaping, but also it's very philosophical, right? And navy blue, this is what I feel like Sagittarius is kind of choose to ignore because y'all is crazy. This duty and the responsibility and the depth of information that actually you can tap in if you are a Sagittarius. But to be honest with you guys, the more that I work with Sagittarius people, the more I'm like, they're just fucking impatient, right? And they just want to go out there and learn everything. And they don't want to, again, like I get to witness all of these ego issues the more I work with people and see it. They have this like philosopher complex where they think that they know more than everyone, even if they don't. And it's just ingrained in you guys. So it's like, yeah, cool. Here's all the responsibility, but like you need a sense of duty. You have to learn what it is to be a philosopher. You have to learn what it is to be like a spiritual guru or whatever. And again, warning, if you work with a Sagittarius, look out for this shit. They don't understand the sense of responsibility and duty that comes with it. And if they do, fuck yeah, you can trust them, but just be careful because they good at inflating. That's what the word I want to use. So purple, right? It's just like pure, vibrant, cool toned purple. Of course, the galaxy, it's more of like a natural neutralized version of the purple. And then navy blue, it really is just, it's not like the warm navy blue. Like I find if you guys look just 2 over from this purple, I find regular blue quite like warm, to be honest with you. So every time I think of blue, I actually kind of think of purple blue, to be honest with you guys. So yeah, this could be like more of like an indigo, purpley blue navy. Then we've got some Capricorn. So all about safety, home, management, building, structure, sense of duty, but they really do have this like complex with status and materialism. Okay. So again, warning. So when it comes to the Capricorn, again, palette that I threw together based on internet research years ago, authority, they do like their authority. They do like to look like the boss. They are incredibly fucking stubborn. Charcoal, so there is this sense of like sophistication, but again, warning, when you see Capricorn energy in someone and they're trying to like express that they're sophisticated with material things, that's not high vibe. That's not like, that's bad. So again, a woke ass Capricorn would have discernment. And this is something that's so interesting to me. They are just obsessed with devouring information, but they don't become wise until they experience that information. So if you see a Capricorn sitting there obsessing with books and notes and courses and just more, they're not wise. They're not wise at all. They're just seeking knowledge, and they're literally getting information. They're not a wise person. And again, shade intended. Go grow, Capricorns. Dark brown, any shade of brown is good for Capricorn. Stability, very commanding. Again, they like to look like they're the boss. They look like they're obsessed with legacy, right? So very structural. They make amazing management energy. Like, again, one thing I used to break down for in a test group years ago, it was the billionaires in the world ranked by their zodiac sign, and Capricorn was the least likely to become a billionaire because they do get caught up in these like management formation based, structural, fear based, hold myself back from experiencing life positions, right? So warning, might not be rich if you don't just go experience life. Okay. And again, I just threw this wood grain in there years ago, showed up in a couple power images or textures for the signs. Building, safety, very important to return to nature. So again, this is another one of those where it's like, oh, these are all neutrals, but brown really does come from orange. And what's kind of interesting too, this could be considered technically a complementary opposite color scheme, because the charcoal, quite often when you guys see grays or charcoals, they are actually green based. So technically these are like very fucking neutral shades of blue and of orange. Quite interesting. Next up, we've got these freaks, Aquarius, very thought-provoking. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying. Have you guys ever talked to an Aquarius? It's like, let's talk about this. I'm going to challenge this. I believe in this. Devil advocate. It's like, oh my gosh, calm down. But I love them. They challenge me. It's beautiful. Very wise, very futuristic focus. So this like chic, what's the word I'm looking for? Like chic rebel energy comes in, concise, but it's all about like, I have a cause. I'm here to save the future, right? So when we break this down, super cool. Again, when I think about turquoise, it's like this ancient abundance. It was all about the Aztecs and what they believed about water, you know, bringing about abundance. So it's very ancient. Okay. Even though it does look modern, it's like we learned from the ancients. That's Aquarius energy. Communicating love, achieved clarity. Like they don't need to seek it anymore. Again, ego check, Aquarius is, they've got it. They have clarity. Talk to an Aquarius. Again, a woke one. Watch them blow your fucking mind. Royal or like vibrant blue, whatever you want to call it. There is a little bit of darkness in here. Processing information. They're like fucking robots sometimes. Self-understanding, calming, introspection. They're not a stressful sign. Not at all. They can like compute and talk and socialize, and they don't really seem to ever get stressed by it. Black, there's definitely power, definitiveness. They are very bossy. And it's quite interesting. Again, Aquarius, they are associated with the 11th house. They're humanitarians, right? So it's like, yeah, no, I'm not budging from my impact that I'm going to have on the future. Get on board. So they're bossy in a really great sense. But if, you know, if they're, again, not woke, they're going to be just butthole bossies. Gray, hella wisdom, right? Open to interpretation. Like I said, devil's advocate, totally neutral stance. So when we break this one down, it is definitely analogous because it covers like three colors. So it's like all the way from like green blue to blue, and then more of like this purple blue, right? So like kind of like a bold indigo color. Next up, we've got Pisces, and so many people are drawn to this one, and it's because you guys need emotional healing, right? So depth, mystery, rebirth, empathy, all of the like mermaidy outer space vibes with this one. And I actually do have, well, I shouldn't say that. My Pisces deacons have these colors integrated still, but the personalities are so different from every single Pisces. So first off, just again, general internet interpretation of their power colors: seafoam, refreshing, naive mindset, growth in wisdom, indigo, escapists. Hello, of course, they cannot stand reality, right? Spiritual exploration, deep and otherworldly. They all aliens. right? But they cannot handle reality is the biggest issue with Pisces. So again, if you guys find yourself drawn to these colors, it's because you're trying to escape reality. Maybe you need to as well, though, right? Maybe reality is a little bit too hard for you to cope with and you've got to do some spiritual healing. Just recognize if it's toxic or not. Teal, again, I told you guys I love this color, what it means: tranquility, meditation, healing. And then this is more of like the pink based, right? Like muted lilac color. So it's compassion, friendly awakenings, and empathy. So it's a very good like spiritual networking color. And again, when we break this one down, it kind of covers like half of the zodiac wheel, but it still technically is an analogous color scheme. So it's all of the cool tone colors. So that is it. I am going to let my voice recover, and I hope to see you guys inside of the aesthetic library in the Instagram for Intuitives experience one day. And if you've already taken it, I definitely recommend doing it like once a year, every time you grow, like redoing that shit.